What's going on, race fans? This is Steve Tucker. We are here today with Race Day Live for the ASRA Cup Series playoffs, round number 2 here at Dover International Speedway. And man, oh man, this is going to be an awesome, awesome time. The Monster Mile never, ever ceases to amaze us. Always a good time. Fast cornering. Man, this place is going to be just one hell of a ride today with a big, big group. Again, for this round 2 of the first round of the round of 12 for the ASRA Cup Series. We're going to be joined live today. Special guest. Going to bring in Brandon Bowie today up in the booth. He's our good buddy, obviously, Season 3 champion here in the ASRA Cup Series. Emery's actually has some other plans today, his wife's birthday, so big congrats and shout out to them. So, Brandon, man, hey, welcome back in the booth. And how you feeling today, dude?
I am feeling great. It's been a little while since I've been up in the booth. And I tell you what, with the ability to sub in for Emery, I'll take it. He gave me the call and said, hey, you want to sub? I said, yeah, sure, why not? And we just changed stuff around, and here I am.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, normally we see you in the car nowadays, but hey, love to have you in the booth as well. So a little bit of a kind of a homecoming for you, so pretty cool. Right now we're going to jump down into qualifying. It is underway currently, so right now Julio Villalobos currently on the track in P1. Here we go. There's our scoring tower. So right now, Julio Villalobos on top of the 23.19. Very quick right there. Daryl Young coming on the track as well. He is hitting P5 right now. So who else is on track? Matthew Fleming. Here he comes. So talk to us, Bowie, real quick as we're watching these guys qualify. I mean, what kind of track is this? Obviously, you were practicing earlier. I saw you. So, I mean, how are the conditions? How's the setup feel? What do you think they're going to deal with today?
Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, I was practicing earlier. Did a little practicing last night as well with some of the guys. And, I mean, Dover is a roller coaster. I mean, you basically, it's like taking at least a 3, 4, 5-story fall going into one. And then basically you coming back out of that and going back up to the top of the story when you're coming out of 2, and the same thing for 3 and 4. So it's an absolute roller coaster. This track is pretty slick. I've been hearing some guys are either they're going to be really loose or they're going to be really tight at the end. Some of them we gotta watch. Shoot, they might even blow some tires. So that'll be pretty interesting as well.
Pretty cool, yeah. I mean, Dover serving up again. This is the closing round, or closing race of the round of 12. Excuse me. So right now we're going to see some drivers go home, and as far as the playoffs are concerned, and the contender playoff battle as well as the championship battle. So a lot going on here tonight. We'll get more into that in just a second. But yeah, right now, Joseph Mealy on the board, 23.17. So folks, real quick too, on the side of your screen, the left side, that scoring tower right there. Anybody in red will be a driver who is currently in the championship playoff contention. So watch out for them as they continue on this race today in Dover. So yeah, so right now, I mean, Devin Smirker looking pretty good as well. Right now in 18th, trying to get his car up to speed. Big shout out to his sponsors, Discoin, today for the sponsorship, the Discoin 200. So really cool to see this Murphy Esports team and Devin bringing in all these sponsors for their cars, but also for the actual broadcast itself. So big shout out to them, Hosky, Cardano, obviously, for all the support as of late. So really cool to see that. Right now, top of the board, though, 23.05. Quick laps. But tires, Bowie, I mean, it's slick, right? So you kind of hinted at, blown tires. So are these tires just, are they just falling off? What's the deal?
I think it's just depending on the setup. I think the setup is actually very challenging this week. It just depends on the settings that these guys decide to run with. If you prefer a setup that's maybe a little loose on the short run, and it gets better on the long run, then that's great. But the problem is you probably going to lose a ton of time trying to save those tires. If you're on the opposite side of the spectrum and you prefer a car that's really, really fast, really quick, then you're going to push it. But on the wrong side, you're going to be really tight at the end or really loose, and then you're going to start burning through those tires. So it's going to be really important to manage your tires as the run goes on. and it just depends on what side you choose on. Do you want to be, do you want to save your tires at the beginning, or do you just want to go and just hope that you got enough tire to get there to the end?
Good call. Yeah, and right now we're seeing your teammates actually. Frankie Barroso and Brandon Six on the board right now. Frankie Barroso is in P3, 23.17. Brandon Six, though, ooh, think might have kissed that wall a bit. Not going to have the effort that he wanted. I think he's going to qualify here 20th, so not a good start for him. But right now, Devin Smirker on top of the board, 9.5 minutes into qualifying. Qualifying is 10 minutes long in total, so right now it looks like Devin Smirker might be your pole sitter today, race fans, for the Discoin 200. Awesome job right there. Pretty cool to see that. So yeah, right now 200 laps entering this race. Stages are at laps 50 and 100, so we're going to cut the race right in half. And man, I'll tell you what, fuel mileage, what are we thinking, Bowie, as far as like stages? Can we make it? Can we not make it? What's the situation, do you think?
I'm hearing these boys were talking earlier, and it is going to be close, especially for this first stage. I mean, if they can make it, it's going to be the strategy of you got to save a little bit. If they're on the short run, and see if you can actually make it. But again, a lot of these guys got to also keep in mind, just because you were able to save 3 laps of fuel, you still got to save an extra lap, because when the caution comes out, you still got to make it back around again. So technically, if you can make it about, I think I was hearing about 47 laps, these boys are going to have to save about 3 to 4 laps of fuel during this run to try and just get to the end of the stage if they don't want to pit. So right. There's that. And if we do have a caution, then that, of course, changes everything.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we're assuming that no cautions are going to come out, right? This is Dover. It's a mile track, concrete, fast speeds, close quarters. I'm thinking we're going to have a few cautions.
Yeah, I'm on board with you on that one. I think, some of these guys are different strategies, different things in there, what they have for their mindset. You're going to have the guys that want to go, and you're going to have the guys that just want to be like, I'm just going to chill and just kind of let the race kind of come to me. And that's usually where you have the accidents, because of 2 different strategies going on at the same time.
That's right. Well, right now, we're going to jump on board the grid right now. The starting grid for the Discoin 200. P1 is your pole sitter, Devin Smirker. That's one more playoff point as well, too, for the future rounds if he does make it in, which right now he looks pretty good to do that. So that bonus point is huge. Jimmy Graham going to be followed back in P2. Awesome run for him. Jimmy Graham also, by the way, he's basically working with Devin in that Murphy Esport team. So seeing them 1-2, definitely a good call right there for them. But that Hosky machine looking pretty solid in that first. Frankie Barroso, P3. Joseph Mealy running out from P4. Jackson Anderson has looked fast all practice, especially the last couple of practices over the weekend, as we always have. Looks very quick. Julio Villalobos in P6, looking strong. Nick Lights in P7. Last week's winner at Michigan, Kenny Reel in 8th place. Richard Woodruff rolling off P9. Matt Smith rolling off 10th. Tyler Honeycutt rolling off 11th place. Matthew Fleming 12th. Dunny Honeycutt 13th place. Daryl Young rolling off 13th. Scott Casorn in that 15th spot, rolling off, looking pretty good there. DJ Honeycutt in 16th. Marshall Harris 17th. Nick Simpson 18th place. Brandon Six rolling off 19th right now. Roger Pierce 20th place for him. Josh Larson 21st. Robert Hersong 22nd. Michael Lamphere 23rd. And then rounding up the field, James Kaufman in that 25. So that'll be the field, folks. We have a lot of cars on the track, and we're going green this next time by, and that is how fast we get to it. So right now, lap 50 is the mark to get to that first stage. So what will we see? Early cautions, hopefully not. Green flag racing, we're about to find out. But Devin Smirker is taking us. That pace car takes that left-hand corner. In the Discoin 200, once we get into that restart zone, we are underway. Green flag. Beautiful jump there for Devin Smirker through the field, looking pretty good. already in turns 3 and 4. Going too wide here for Dover. Looking pretty solid. Turn 2. I'm gonna call Jimmery. Bowie. It's very loose usually. How's it feeling today?
Yeah, that's about right. That's the best way to explain it. It's loose, it's slick. But you want to know what though? If, like I said before, if these guys can kind of manage the tires, try not to heat up those right rears, or those rears at all, and kind of can just, I wouldn't say baby it, but just push it just enough so that way, it does continue to build heat in the tire, but doesn't over build the heat in the tire. Man, it can go a long way with these tires. But yeah, turn 2 is going to be slick. Turn 4 as well.
Yes, sir. Big moment right there for Daryl Young. He got a little loose out of 2. Almost slapped the inside wall. He might have actually, but then he keeps it going. So far, so good for him. Big moment for sure. Devin Smirker comes down around turns 1 and 2. Looking very good. Jamie Graham in P2 still looking very, very solid. Tell you what, a lot of these guys need these points right now. Frankie Barroso, Devin, not so much, but I mean, you look at these guys in the red on the left side of your screen. We're looking at Matthew Smith, Fleming, Larson, especially down here in 20th. He needs points today. He has to have a big day. He's about 15 points out of the championship for the next round. This qualifying effort's not going to be too helpful. So, passing wise, Bowie, how is it passing? Is it hard to pass, easy to pass? What do you see here usually?
Usually, the short run is a lot of give and take. But as the run goes on, you'll notice that it is hard to pass. So I think for right now, probably the first and second stage, you'll kind of see a little bit of give and take. Once we're in that third stage, all bets off. Like, you're going to see some people being moved. You're going to probably see some too wide, hard racing battles. Because once you get further along, long enough into the run, it is hard to pass. And you're just going to be banking on other people either getting loose or getting tight and kind of moving out of the way themselves. But for the most part, for right now, I think you're going to see a little bit of give and take.
And the crazy thing, too, about this track, Bowie, is that typically, at least in my experience, after the first, initial restarts, tires start to get worn out and whatnot, this track, as much of a roller coaster as it is and how fast it is and things like that, it typically sees long green flag runs. Why do you think that is?
I think that this goes back to, once people kind of get in the groove, they kind of understand, what do they need to do? Like, I just need to get, in this case, you just need to get to the next stage. Are you going to get the results that you want? Possibly, maybe not. Of course, the top 10 will. But the guys that are sitting further back, out of top 10 right now is Fleming, Honeycutt, or both Honeycutt, sorry, Pierce, even Six is back there. They're all fighting through traffic, but only thing you can do is really take it one step at a time. So, one pass at a time, one car at a time, you pick them off, and, you might have a top 10, but for the most part, like I said, I think that just kind of goes back to just everybody taking it easy. Everybody realizes it's either going to get really loose or it's going to get tight, start burning up the tires. So let's not destroy our car, within 10 laps or more.
Yes, sir. Right now, moving to the front, Jackson Anderson in that third spot in the 83 right now, just past Frankie Barroso. So Frankie might know something more than we do. Maybe is already kind of saving that fuel a little bit. But Jackson, he's just charging to the front and looking very, very good today. We mentioned earlier before the broadcast that Jackson's really just, he's kind of found his stride. Earlier in the season, he was kind of new or newish to this car. And man, practice makes perfect, right? He just has found, just figured it out, right, for the most part, and looks very, very strong right now, making a move for P2 up against Jamie Graham.
Yeah, and I kind of want to piggyback off of that as well. Yes, I would absolutely agree. From the beginning of the season to where we are now, Jackson has showed a tremendous amount of just experience, just learning and just trying to get better as a driver. I've talked to him before a couple times, and just trying to see where his head's at. What's his end goal? What is his plans? Does he want to win the championship? Is the goal just to win a race? And I think overall, he just wants to show that he is competitive, and he wants to show that he can race out here for all the rest of the fast guys. And I think, sooner or later, we're going to definitely see him win And like they always say, once you win the first time, the floodgates open.
Well, hey, right now, Jackson Anderson moves his way to P1, moves around Devin Smirker, and is going to lead his first lap. And if my statistics are correct, this is his first lead lap of the season. So awesome job here for Jackson. Might be a little early. I mean, I think these boys behind him are saving some of their stuff, some, tires and fuel. But, I mean, if Jackson, even if he isn't saving that kind of things right now, he's still able to lead his first laps. That's a confidence booster, no matter what you look at it.
Absolutely. It's especially for somebody like him, like I said, that just came into the to the league. Basically is one of the few people on here who are just kind of starting their iRacing career. So, yes, it is a huge confidence booster. He can, like I said, like you said, is it too early? Probably to be this aggressive to kind of go out there and try to take the lead. But, those are things that he can learn. He can then take that information that he learned from what the tires are doing, with how the car's reacting, and he's still got 2 more stages to try and figure out, okay, what do I need to do for the next stage? So it's all about learning, and he's definitely leading and learning at the same time.
Looking very good. Back further on in the field, looking at 21st place right now, Nick Simpson needs a big day today in that contender playoff battle. He is the lowest ranked, so he needs a big points day today, or else he will be eliminated from that championship. So right now in 21st place, so looking pretty good. Just needs a lot more, needs to find some speed here, lap 18. But like you said Brandon, right now, we're seeing everybody pretty well straight out in single file. And Brandon's 6th right now. He's moving his way back up. He's in 14th currently, started 19th place. So he is getting up there, but man, it's a process.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, it's going to be really important, especially for him. 6 is fast. We've seen him win on many different types of tracks. But there's nothing like a challenge, and the setup was already a challenge as it is, especially this track. But now it's even, 3 times fold as far as a challenge, because you're now starting in the back. You got to kind of manage your tires. You got to, try to pick them off one at a time. And for him, his goal is ultimately to win. But the big picture is for him to make it into the top 10. And right now he's sitting 14th, so he still has time to get there. But he has to make sure that he doesn't burn up his tires in the process of trying to get to the top 10.
Yeah.
Because if he does, then those same people that he probably just passed are probably going to pass him right back.
That's right. Makes a move around his teammate, Julio Villalobos. And while they're around him, I want to talk about these guys real quick, too. The Honeycuts, Tyler and DJ. Donnie himself as well. But Tyler and DJ specifically, these 2 guys have had a killer season. Really, really good season. Entering their first season in the ASRA Cup Series. And these guys came out initially early on and kind of had a tough time a little bit. But then DJ and Tyler especially they just kind of like just shot out of a cannon, man, and have looked very, very good. Got themselves into the playoffs. But unfortunately, last week at Michigan, they both had some pretty rough days. So that kind of puts them in a lower place right now at Dover. They need big days today for sure. But either way, if their season ends today for DJ or Tyler, I'll tell you what, they can hold their heads up high because they've had a great season. They're very, very fast, and from what I hear, they're coming back next season with even more teammates in a full team. So these boys are going to be contenders for sure next season. And right now, they're just doing all they can to finish off with a good season. And they're doing just that.
Yeah, definitely shout out to the Honeycuts. I kind of learned about them earlier in the season, the couple races that I've done so far, and every time I race around them, they race relatively clean, and they're fast as well. So, shout out to them, for coming into the league, and if I remember correctly, the first couple of races they showed tremendous amount of speed, kind of falling off a little bit, but they could also be thinking big picture, like, hey, you know what, we can't win it in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 is where it's at. So, they're going to focus on that, and hey, I wouldn't be surprised to see them probably sitting in the top 5 trying to go ahead and snag a win tonight.
That's right. But Devin Smirker, man, back to the front, gets around Jackson Anderson again for that P1 spot. Jamie Graham right behind him as well. Jamie didn't have. I mean, again, talking about guys who didn't have a great Michigan. Jamie Graham was one of them, especially. Just a pretty, just wasn't what he wanted, right, for Jamie. But today, I mean, he's right there with his, teammate Devin Smirker. And man, no sponsors on that car just yet. But I'll tell you what, after this performance, he might get him pretty quick. I mean, he's right now in P2, looking pretty fast. So this is what this, Murphy Esports could use. I mean, Devin looks extremely strong today. Jamie as well. So I would not be surprised if we saw a breakthrough win today for Devin and Murphy Esports for sure.
I honestly think I agree. You could definitely get one from them. You can probably get one from anyone tonight. Cause like I said, man, I mean, Dover is such a challenging track. It only takes one person to make a mistake. If I remember correctly, it was Ryan Newman at Dover, coming out of 2. I can't remember if he got tagged a couple years ago. I can't remember if he got tagged or not. Came out of 2, spun, and about 15 other cars got collected with him. So it could happen anywhere. The big one could happen anywhere. So it just depends on, when it happens. Hopefully it doesn't, but you got to be ready if it does.
Yeah, we're seeing some great racing right now. 30 laps into this race, 20 laps to go for the end of the stage. And just some tight racing all around. Nick Light's looking pretty good after his win last week at Michigan. Very, very strong. Again, these guys, these non-playoff drivers, Bowie, are really kind of showing up lately. I mean, Michigan, Nick Light's wins. Not in the playoffs. We have Jamie Graham in 2nd, Anderson in 5th. And then you get Kenny Reel and Woodruff in 7th and 8th. So just overall very solid right now for these non-playoff drivers.
Yeah. Look, I put it like this: never sleep on the non-playoff driver. Just because you're a non-playoff, that doesn't mean anything, man.
Yeah.
You still have, the ability to go out there and win races, especially if you know that you can do it. So then you prove to everybody, hey, I might not be in the playoffs. Hey, I can still go out there and win. I'm a race with respect, and I expect them to race, for respect back. But the goal is to go out there and steal those wins. So I commend them. Go do it.
That's right. Yeah, before Michigan, we kind of challenged, these drivers in a friendly way, saying, hey, you know what? We get it. You're not in the playoffs. You're not necessarily even in the contender playoffs either. But go out there, have the best 5 races you've had all season long, and end on a strength, right? And these boys so far are doing it. As we're seeing Brandon Six currently in that top 10, 10th place actually right now for him. So making his way back up. Roger Pierce has gained a lot of spots, fighting with Tyler Honeycutt. Man, these two cars, I confuse them all the time. Black and lime green. But both look really, really good. Dressing for the occasion, as they say. For the playoffs and those lime green playoff banners. So looking very cool. But Roger Pierce making his way back up to the front. He was fast in practice as well. But again, that qualifying effort, that can just kill you. As you were saying earlier, it's just hard to pass. 34 laps into this race. 16 to go, though, for stage 1.
Yeah, we're getting to the point now where we're going to really start to see maybe some pitting strategies. Did people save enough fuel? Are they still trying to save fuel? So it's going to be interesting to see what these guys kind of have in their back pocket. But, 35 laps in. Man, it's still open season on who can actually go out here and win stage 1, but whoever's going to do it, it's going to probably be because they save just a little bit more fuel.
That's right. Again, back to that strategy. I mean, is this a track? I know it's a mile, but can we see situations where, kind of like what you were doing back in Michigan, I believe it was, where you were pitting kind of a little early. We had a green, white checkered, finish basically every stage end and the race end, and you came and pitted at that caution before the actual stage end. So could we see that this time by, maybe, drivers come down, take the fuel, and then at the end of the stage, they're out front, right? They get that wave around, or they get the, that positioning. Is that possible here?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the problem with that here at Dover is you're going around so quick. So if you're going to do it, then unfortunately, at minimum, you're going to probably go a lap down at the minimum. But if everybody were to pit, and let's say nobody can make it, then it kind of still works out. but you would be banking on everybody actually pitting, and we all know that's probably not going to happen. So, yes, you could make it happen, but like I said, it's going to be a little crazy.
Great point. Right now, Jackson Anderson comes down pit road, actually, as we talk about it. So here he comes down pit road. Big move for him here. About 10 laps to go as they cross the line. So Jackson Anderson here coming down pit road, looking very, very, just making that move early. Nick Lights, Frankie Barroso fighting over here. Joseph Mealy. Tell you what, Flagship Motorsports recently, especially at Michigan, looking very strong. Mealy and Lights right here. I know Fleming finished P2 last week. So Flagship has kind of started to, spark up in these playoffs, man. They're coming.
Now's the time. If you're gonna show it now. Don't wait till to the end or to the middle of the playoffs. No, show it now. These races are gonna be starting and ending. It's gonna seem like they're really, really fast, and any little minor mistake that you do, it's gonna be magnified. So why not be aggressive? Go make the changes. Go make the adjustments, and try to see if you can snag some wins. Snag a win, get locked into the next round. At this point, what do you got to lose?
Looking very good. Very impressed so far by these drivers right now. 42 laps in. And so far, no cautions. Knocking on wood as we speak right now. But just good driving overall. I think these drivers know, hey, you know what? I need to have a good day today. I need the points. We're going to race a little clean. 200 laps here isn't really a long race, but it definitely can be lengthy. So right now we're looking pretty good. A lot of respect on track right now as the playoffs are well underway. Five races, Bowie. That's it for this season. And you got to have those good races and have them now.
That's what I was saying. Get it done now. Try to get as many wins as you can, or as best finishes you can. The best finishes you get, those points are going to add up at the end. 6 is probably one of the top drivers in here as far as playoff points and stage wins. So guess what? Now it's time to start capitalizing on those and try to grab as many as you can.
Yeah, and we were talking about it, right? I mean, this format in general is just really unique. I mean, to your point, I mean, Brandon Six, yeah, he has about 1 million playoff points entering these playoffs. And these races right here aren't necessarily, detrimental to his points, or his playoffs as we go into these, next rounds. But Charlotte is unique. That's going to be our finale, right? And that's a one race situation. So points don't matter at that point. It all comes down to that one race and finishing ahead of the 3 other competitors you have for the championship. So, Brandon Six, as much of a great season he's had, right now his eyes are all on Charlotte. I've got a funny feeling. And, yeah, I mean, right now he's looking pretty strong, though. Devin Smirker, definitely strong today at Dover. Right now in P1, lap 46. It seems like no one's going to come down pit road except Jackson Bowie. So everyone kind of making it work right now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's not what Jackson wants to see. He needed to see other people actually come down pit road. And without, I mean, and it still could happen. I mean, it's still, a lap or 2 left before pit road closes. So maybe, but man, it's the strategy, unfortunately, is not looking good for him right now.
Yes, sir. Right now, Roger Pierce and Nick Simpson coming down pit road. This is early for sure, but this right here could set themselves up for a good finish. Not I guess a finish, but a good start to stage 2. So we'll see how that works for them right now. But lap 48, Devin Smirker coming down around turn 3. Looking very, very strong. Starting to see him kind of arc that corner, diamonding the corner in turn 3 and 4. So, but man, he is just making it work. Looking very good. 1 lap to go here for stage 1. Big lead for Devin Smirker, 0.8 of a second. Next to his teammate Jamie Graham. Under fire by Mealy and by Frankie Barroso. But Devin Smirker for the Discoin 200 comes around turn 4. Going to lead and win stage number 1 here for the Discoin 200. Great job for that Cardano and Hosky machine. That is the first stage end. And our first caution of the day. Great race so far, Broly. What do you think, man?
Awesome race. Like I said, clean racing, which is what I was expecting for the first stage. Like I said, it's gonna start to ramp up a little bit more because people are gonna start realizing, okay, I kind of know what I got. I know what I need to do. I just need to learn, take all the information I learned, make the adjustments that I need to, and try to continue to move up through the field.
It's a great point. Right now, everyone coming down pit road. This is huge. What do they have here? Devin Smirker going to come down pit road. On the side of your screen, too, we're looking at all the drivers below 20th place. So James Kaufman right now, 1 lap down. To your point, Jackson Anderson did not want to see that. Pierce, Nick Simpson, all these guys decided to come down pit road before the stage ended. So right now, they're going to be looking at, what they can do. Nick Simpson, 3 laps down. Marshall Harris, 2 laps down. So a lot of things going on right now. But, hey, strategy is massive. 4 tires here, full of fuel buoy, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. There's no 2 tires. There's no fuel only. Give me 4 tires, full tank of fuel, and let's go at it again. If I'm Smecker, I'm loving what I got right now. I don't really have. If I'm Smecker, competition is nowhere to be seen.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take my time. I'm gonna take my 4, take my full tank of fuel, go out there, and we're gonna do the same thing again. He didn't put a tire wrong. So as long as he continues to do it and do what he's doing, I think it's gonna be very difficult for anybody to beat him tonight.
It's a great point. Let's actually bring him into the booth real quick. See if I can drag him on down here and bring him in. Here he is, Devin Smirker in that 26 Cardano Hosky machine, man. Looking very strong. Won that stage 1. Got the pole today. Something feels kind of magical about this race for you, man. How you feeling today?
Oh, I feel great. The schedule makers decided they wanted this to be a fuel mileage race, which is pretty interesting for Dover. So, man, we had a lot of speed left in the tank there. I just had to make sure I could make it on fuel. But I'm super proud of everybody at Murphy Esports. Jamie qualified second, finished second in the stage. We've shown a lot of speed here, so job's not finished yet. We gotta keep pushing here. We don't have to win, but we'd certainly like to.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, strategy's going to play a role into this race for sure. It sounds like always going to throw a curveball once in a while. So awesome job today so far, man. Looking really good. We're going to let you choose here. Good luck rest of the way.
Thanks, boys.
Alrighty, Devin Smirker choosing right now. Looking good. He mentioned it. Hey, those pesky schedule makers, man. Those league admins. What are they thinking?
Hey, well, it like I said, it makes it a challenge. These are not things. He's right. These are not things that you usually have at Dover, because usually, honestly, in the official races, Dover is pretty much calamity. There's a lot of guys who are just beating and banging off each other, and usually it's a short race. But here tonight, it's been clean. I mean, I've seen a couple hits here and there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, everybody's kind of minding their P's and Q's, and like I said, I expect it to ramp up just a tick more than it was last stage, and we'll see how it goes. But like you were saying before, unfortunately, Jackson, one of the fast guys, trying to do a different strategy, more than likely did not save enough fuel and had to do a pit stop there, so he really didn't have a choice. But he's gonna have to dig himself out of a hole, but he's still got time, so he's definitely gonna need some cautions and some hope here.
Yes, sir. Pace car lights were off, but then now they're back on again. So we're going to do one more lap, it would appear, before we go back green for stage 2. So let's real quick take a commercial break and thank our sponsors real fast. We'll come right back. right, folks, welcome back for the Discoin 200. Stage 2 has concluded, and right now we're going back green momentarily for stage number 2. Devin Smirker is your leader, Jamie Graham in P2, and then followed by a whole lot of drivers who want to win this race. So coming around turn 2, lap 54, stage 2 will end on lap 100. So we're going a bit shorter now, Bowie, so looks like field might be a better situation this time around, I would assume, right?
Yeah, if we're going a little bit shorter, then yes, we should be good to go. Which, oh man, if you really think about it, that kind of sucks really now for Jackson, because he just, oh, that's gonna suck. But like I said, he can come back from it. But yes, so it is gonna be a little bit shorter. So with it being a little bit shorter, it should allow for people to race a little bit harder.
Yes, sir. Well, here we go. Pace car turn left, and right now we're going green here for stage 2. Devin Smirker leads us. Big wreck coming out of turn 2 on the backstretch. Jamie Graham, huge contact. Brandon 6. Massive contact for him, and Jackson Anderson plows into the side of that 66 machine. First caution for incident is out. Oh no.
Well, I did say the aggression was gonna go up a little bit.
we sure did, man. We saw Frankie Barroso kind of just smack the wall at turn 2 with that camera angle, and then all of a sudden all hell broke loose. So let's go back and kind of find out what happened there. But man, that's huge for some playoff contenders.
Yeah, see the 83, the 66, a couple guys further back had stopped. Ugh, what a bad timing for sure, especially on the restart.
Yeah, we'll go back even further. It sounds like it happened quite a bit early. Here we go. So Frankie Barroso hits the wall here, and then just kind of, oh man, just tags Jamie Graham right here. Jamie's got nowhere to go at this point. He's just a casualty, but Frankie continues on. And then Jamie, right now, this is right in front of the field buoy, right in kind of that racing line. So nowhere to go. Matthew Fleming gets part of it. Brandon 6 has nowhere to go. Tyler Honeycutt looks like hits in the inside wall. Not a huge amount of damage right there for him, but
yeah, that man, and it's, I don't know. I was trying to see if maybe it was Frank. I know Frankie does hit the wall, but does the 62 also just move up and kind of squeeze Frankie? It's really hard to tell right now. But man, just wrong place, wrong time. Especially for both of these guys. And then as far as the rest of the guys just kind of collecting it, just. You just got nowhere to go. I mean, it's a self-cleaning track, and it's Dover. And I talked about it before. If you have the big one here, it's usually going to take out a couple cars because it's just nowhere to go.
Yeah, we're seeing a different angle right here. Frankie does hit that wall and comes up. I don't necessarily see Jamie turning right more so, but yeah, unfortunately, this just creates a big mess. Only really took out 3 cars, maybe 3.5 with Fleming right there. That's the front end. Oh yeah, that tire's pretty much done with. So unfortunate. 4 cars. This could have been way bigger, Bowie, but yeah, this is a massive blow to a couple of these drivers in their playoffs.
Yeah, that's, man, and like I said, it's one of those things where you know when it's time to go, and right now for them, this guys know, like I said, stage 2 is they're gonna step up a little bit. They're gonna be a little bit more aggressive because it's time to go. But unfortunately, the little things like that, Frankie misjudging the wall a little bit, coming down and hitting the 62. I mean, it's just, like I said, wrong place, wrong time.
It sure is. And right now, we're choosing. So Frankie Barroso right now still in the outside lane. Doesn't look like he'll be given that EOL for causing the caution. That is the responsibility of race control. So sometimes these things happen. Turn 2, we talked about it earlier, is pretty treacherous. Basically, Calamity Corner, as they used to call it. So Matthew Fleming comes around, that front end pretty well beat up. So tough break for a lot of these guys. But man, yeah, just a lot of work to do for some of them. But lap 58, about 40 laps to go here for the end of this stage. But you're right. I mean, the intensity is going to ramp up. Right now, pace car lights come off, so we're going to go back green here shortly. But, I mean, yeah, just more, 25 cars on track on a tight corner. Dover's not, it's not wide. So it's hard to navigate sometimes here, Bowie.
Yeah, it's I mean, the track itself, you could probably go 3-4 wide. But the racing line and the racing groove is only about one, maybe two and a half lanes. And it only takes, like I said before, only takes one minor slip. Unfortunately, in this case, it was Frankie. And it was close enough to the front that it collected a whole bunch of people as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, so that pretty much essentially takes Brandon Six, Jimmy Graham, and even Jackson Anderson out of the contention right now for the race win, or at least having some good race finishes. So Matthew Fleming as well, pretty well beat up. But pace car turns that hard left. We're going back green here for stage number 2. Smirker comes down into that Geico restart zone. And we're going back green, baby. Right now, for the Discoin 200, we're back. Further on back so far. Good restart by these guys. The one thing too, Bowie, about those guys going down, Brandon Six, Fleming, big playoff contenders, that opens up spots for these guys to get more points today. So that could be huge for them.
Yeah, and they got to capitalize on it. Have to. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You just have to get every single point you can. You have 6, which is, I believe, was the leader as far as leading the championship right now coming into this race.
Yeah.
Is he going to lose it? Maybe not, but that's still points that you can now gain on him.
That's right.
The thing with Fleming, Fleming being hurt, that's, and I'm not saying that these guys are completely out of it. Could these guys still get the top 10? Yes, but they're not winning. So that gives you the ability to win. Still got stage 2 to win. So there's points on the line for that. So at this point, just got to think big picture. How can you capitalize it? And as long as, you kind of keep that big picture mindset, the sky's the limit for sure.
I'll tell you what, though, right now, if you're Devin Smirker, at least with me, right? If I know that, hey, you know what, Brandon Six, he's one of the better drivers in this league, and he was creeping up through the field. Now he's involved in that wreck and has some pretty severe damage. He's probably not going to be a contender for this race win now. So Devin looks really, really good at this point, right? He's got to be feeling pretty good about his chances here tonight.
Yeah. If all he has to do is continue to do what he's doing, and he's going to go ahead and get a win. And like I said before, he's never won in this series yet. So it could open up the floodgates. I mean, Nick Lights was a prime example, I believe, last season. Mm-hmm. Or maybe it was the season before that. I can't remember which season, but there was a season where he actually did not win a race. Won a race, and it was like the floodgates opened up because I think he won 3 or 4 more wins. Yeah. So it was like, where did this guy come from? Yes, we know he races in real life. He has real life experience. But it's still very difficult to win a simulator race. It's not the same as a real life race. So it's gonna be, I'm hearing some people with 46 maybe crash in the background from what I was hearing, but maybe they saved it. I couldn't go back there and see that fast. But
Nick Simpson, you're right. On the track. Comes out onto the track still. Yellow flag is out. Our second caution of the day. Right side looks pretty well beat up.
Yeah, I just seen a glimpse of it, just ever so slight. I was like, without car spinning? Like, hard to tell. When you're trying to look at so much different stuff, you're like, I think it's a car crashing, but I'm not sure. But yeah, like I said, if oh wow, yeah, that was close. So yeah, the 46 does have some look like some right side damage, but he's not out of it. So get that fixed, get that patched up. Can still get a solid finish out of tonight.
Oh, for
But
sure.
Smirker, he's on a whole nother level right now.
Yeah, so Simpson, that whole lap was pretty shaky. Look at him come down turn 1 right here. Oh man, that back end's kind of kicking out. He's already loose in turn 1.
Yeah, so a lot of times especially here at Dover, you carry so much speed and you carry so much wheel usually into the corner. And when you have so much wheel into the corner, you're coming off the corner, it lightens up that rear. And when you do that, I mean, even with that little bit of a kind of a shake and bake right there, his tires are hot and they're getting hotter every single time he sits there and goes left, right, left, right.
Right.
So it's just a matter of time. I mean, unless he gets off the throttle. And that's something that's hard to mentally do, is to say, hey, I need to get off the throttle because I am getting really, really loose here. I mean, it's some of the real life people, real life drivers struggle with that too. So
Great point.
it's 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 one of those things that happens in a mistake, and it's take a look at it. What can I learn from it? How do I do it so I don't make the same mistake again, and try to continue to move forward.
That's right. And right now, finds himself in P20, so not too bad. He's 2 laps down, but can get that back with stages and more yellow. So all is not to be worried about just yet for him. But yeah, up front, Devin Smirker looking pretty good. I'll tell you what, though, Joseph Mealy, back to my point earlier about, hey, I mean, if you're Smirker, you're going to feel pretty good about 6 not being, a contender here. But not to discount Joseph Mealy, Nick Lights, Frankie, right? These guys are very, very fast, and they look extremely fast today, especially Mealy. So I think he's got something to prove here, and he wants to get this first win of the season for him. And he's right there in that in that capacity, right? He looks fast. He looked great in that first stage. So a lot of guys here, even though Smirker wants that first win, a lot of guys can still steal that. I mean, Kenny Reel, Bowie. I mean, right now in P5, very solid job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I was actually just looking at him along with Honeycutt. We talked about Honeycutt earlier. You got to be there at the right place at the right time, and he's showing off as well. So Woodruff sitting P7, Young P8, Villalobos kind of fell back a little bit, but he's still running the top 10. Lamphere P10. Top 10 is I wouldn't say all new drivers, but I would say that there's some people that are kind of showing their strengths today on the short tracks.
Yes, for sure. And I mean, next week, hey, it's a brand new round, but it's Las Vegas. So Las Vegas, obviously, just another one of those 1.5 mile D-shaped oval tracks that everybody loves. So it's hey, but that's kind of the beauty of it, right? It's kind of an equalizer to some degree, right? Where Las Vegas, for the most part, people can get around it fairly easy. And then after that, Martinsville. So we kind of have that parity of, hey, here's a semi-easy track. And then we have something that is not. So we'll see how that works out for them right now. But hey, Dover, this race is not even halfway done yet. But we're getting there. Devin Smirker right now leading the race, looking very strong. Nick Lights trying to go back-to-back wins. Michigan last week won his second race of the season. Right now trying to go for that second win, or third one, excuse me, of the season right there. So looking very strong. But I'm looking through this field, and I'm seeing a lot of guys, to your point a second ago, who need points now in stage 2. I mean, we're looking at, Kenny Reel, in the sense of like the contender playoffs, but mostly the championship, right? We're looking at, DJ Honeycutt, who had a really bad Michigan, and here he is right here in P8. So if he can walk away with maybe top 5, stage points, he could be just fine. He's got the speed and the abilities to do it. So we'll see how he does here. But that pace car going to turn left. We're going back green here on lap 72. Stage 2 is about halfway done. We're going to go back underway once they hit that Geico restart zone. And here we go. The Discoin 200 is back underway in green.
Once again, another great restart for Smirker on that one.
Looking good. 2 wide right here, back in the middle of the field. Donnie Honeycutt looking pretty strong. Josh Larson on the outside as well. Trying to get back to the front here. He needs these points. Can't be too desperate though, too early. I mean, right now it's lap 73, still a pretty good amount to go to the end of stage 2. And right now with the cautions, fuel might not be a big concern if at all. So it just comes down to, hey, holding on to those tires and getting to the front.
Yeah, if you push pretty hard, I'm gonna say you probably can get about 20 good laps out of the tires if you're pushing hard. If you're kind of taking it easy, of course, I mean, we saw that, you can pretty much go maybe 50, 60 laps on a good set of tires. So it's just, they had a couple cautions on here. This is unfortunately why they say cautions breed cautions.
Yeah.
Because, everybody gets bunched up again, everybody has to restart again, and mistakes happen again. So it's just a matter of them just trying to get single filed out. As we're seeing some crazy battles right now on the track. You see between the 29 and 8 there. If these guys can just again look at the big picture, let's get to stage 2, then we can go for broke and see if we can go snag a win. But
that's right.
If you wreck yourself out before that, it's all for nothing.
And right now we're seeing Nick Lights actually take the lead from Devin Smirker, so leading his first laps of the race today. Not necessarily taking it easy here on stage 2 with about 23 laps to go, so wants that early leading. So looking pretty good. Frankie Barroso, P3, getting back to the front. I think, Frankie, we've known him, to kind of just relax early on in stages, and even in, like the last stage. He's typically a long run kind of guy, and right now I think he's kind of figuring that out, seeing what kind of race car he has later on in this race.
Yeah, Frankie has always been known to be the little sneaky. What I like to call about him, because you just never know. I mean, he can come out of nowhere. Next thing you know, he's sitting P2, and you're just like, when did he get here? Because he does a really, really good job of saving his tires. He never really pushes the car past the limit of being out of control. Unless he absolutely has to, and when he needs to do it, then he will. But for the majority of the time, he reminds me of like a Matt Kenseth.
Yeah.
Just methodical and tries to stay out of trouble and just works his way through the field. And that's honestly a good thing. I mean, not for championships. I mean, he only had one, but you're trying to win multiple championships. Might not want to have that philosophy, but for the most part, I mean, Matt Kenseth was always a solid driver, and honestly, I look at Frankie as being the same way.
Now, talk to us real quick. I just had this thought in my head. So, typically, this ASRA schedule, it's not lined up with the actual, the Real World 1 or even the iRacing schedule. But this week it did. So Dover is the A class racing, for iRacing in this car, and then now obviously we're here. So different setups. But do you think that maybe helps these drivers get some additional practice on this track?
Oh, absolutely. Seat time is everything. It doesn't matter if the setup is different or not. In my personal opinion, do you have to drive them differently? Of course, But understanding the transition of the track. Is it getting tighter on the long run? Is it getting looser on the long run? How the car is reacting to, whether it's getting tight or loose. So, all those things are things that you're going to be learning. And, A-Fix racing, whether it's A-Fix or A-Open or it's not NIS because they're for the off season, but for the A races, I mean, you can learn a ton of details and a ton of information and be able to kind of just take that information back and then apply it to here. Like I said, it doesn't matter as far as the setup, in my opinion. I think Nick Lights is a prime example of, having real life experience here. It's also beneficial because, if I remember correctly, he's raced here before a couple times, so he kind of understands how the track is gonna change and how it's gonna, all the little nuances that the track does. You know, for somebody that doesn't have the experience, you know, it could be huge. So it's everything, especially when you get those practice races in.
Yes, sir. Definitely plans for a pretty well clean race so far, but right now DJ Honeycutt got a little loose there in turn 3, but we talked about him a second ago, but man, he's right there in P6. This is exactly what he needs for this stage 2, setting himself up with that track position, which is obviously strong, but then also potentially a good start to the stage 3 and getting himself to that end of the race. So watch out for DJ Honeycutt. I think he's one of those guys that, hey, if he has a clean race, if he stays out of the way of people's messes, man, he is right there contending for wins. And right behind him, don't forget Daryl Young as well, looking very strong today. So, hey, a lot can change. Dover's one of those tracks that, you know, you don't normally think it can be a wild card, but we're seeing drivers right now showing up.
Absolutely. And look, don't sleep on Daryl Young. Maybe he hasn't been the fastest cat, you know, as far as races wise, but at the beginning of the season, he was pretty quick. If I remember correctly, he racked up some top 5s pretty early in the season. So, you know, he could be having a little bit of a slump here, but don't sleep on him. He could actually come out, you know, still, like I said, still got another stage to end it. Could do a little bit of pit strategy, and you never know, he could be sitting top 3 and going for the win. So
yes,
I
sir.
wouldn't count any of these drivers out at all.
I mean, he has that win at Talladega, right, to end the regular season, so obviously Talladega is known to be a wild card itself, but man, that win, just to break through and get your first win in this series, is definitely a confidence booster that you can actually get it done. So right now he's had great finishes and in that playoff hunt, so we'll see what he can do with 10 laps to go here in stage number 2. But up front, Nick Lights is still holding on to that lead by about 6/10. Smirker has been catching right back up, so we'll see what they have right now as we end this stage 2. Nick Light's looking strong. Smirker looking strong. Kenyon Real, he's holding on to that 5th spot, 2.5 seconds back. Looking very strong today, Bowie.
Yeah, he is. You know, there's Kenny is one of those, again, another guy that's pretty quiet. Tries not to make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes he can kind of get you know, in his own way. I mean, that happens as you continue to learn and continue to grow as a driver. But he's also another driver that has you know, made big strides from the last season that he was here. So, you know, putting in the practice, putting in the time, you know, working with his teammates and trying to understand, okay, where am I lacking, and where do I need to get better? So, and that's honestly where it's all about. You know, if you put the time into racing, no matter what it is, whether it's basketball, football, any type of sport, you put the time into it, you're going to get better at it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's a prime example of, you know, taking his learnings from the last season and making the best of it for this season.
Yes, sir. Right now we're seeing Michael Lanphier and currently in P8. A great run for him so far. He hasn't had the season he wanted. Again, some pretty rough finishes. Had to miss a few races as well. So not currently in the championship hunt or even contender playoff battle, but has looked very solid when he's in the races. Michael Lanphier has not had a win yet in this series, but man, he is like, I feel like if Mike can put a full race together, you know, at a particular track that he's good at, I really think he can come out with a win. He's very strong, you know, when he's not getting in everyone else's mess, right? Sometimes that's a factor, right? His luck isn't exactly, you know, up there, but Mike can definitely, I think, knock out those wins. But back up to the front, Devin Smirker gets around Nick Lights in turn 2. This is for the lead on lap 95, so Smirker going to come back around, taking lap 96. And stage 2 is about 5 laps away here from concluding. So right back to the front for Smirker. Tell you what, Mealy right now and then Frankie Barroso, they look fast. And Nick Lights as well, but I just don't know if they're just holding on to their stuff too much.
If we go back to it, looks like the 83 and the 46 kind of got into it. I know I just read on the chat somebody was asking for checking in. Unfortunately, the 46 and the 83 looks like they got into a little bit of a tussle on the front stretch.
Oh, man.
But,
yeah, we're seeing them.
Still green.
Yeah, Simpson's had a pretty rough stage 2 right now. Not sure if that car's even handling right to continue, but he might come down pit road. So Nick Simpson, again, just hasn't had that playoff battle he's wanted to. Ooh, that right side tire is pretty well beat up. Not good for him. That might end his day. Hate to see it. Nick Simpson, a great member of this league here, and just unfortunately playoffs start and you either hit it or you miss it, and Nick Simpson just not having the playoffs he wants, but man, he has shown to be strong at points of this season, so he's only getting better and better for sure.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, sometimes you're gonna have those type of seasons. I for sure has had a ton of them. With the playoffs, you make it to the playoffs, you're like, okay, I can do this, and it just doesn't work out. Whether it's this problem or that problem, or caught up in somebody else's stuff. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes there's just nothing you can do. I prime example. I want to say the 19 Martin Truex Jr. If you watch the playoff season this year, it seems like every race was something with him. Now, of course, he made it to the top 8 because he won the regular season championship and the amount of stage wins, the playoff points he had. So he kind of got carried there. But if you look at his first season, his first 6 races, it was not good at all.
that's right. And right now, Devin Smarker comes around to get that stage 2 victory. So awesome job right now. Has won the pole, has won both stages. So he's trying. He's got one more checkbox to check off to get that perfect game, as he will. But right now, Devin looking very, very strong in the number 26 Cardano Hosky machine. Looking very, very good today.
Yeah, he's got speed. His competitors are struggling. And they're not really giving him the fight. I mean, Nick Lice, just gave him a good fight there for the stage, but we see who had the better tires there at the end and who could get right back around Nick and take that stage win from him.
Yeah, it just seems like Smirker has the long run pace against anybody. I mean, Mealy, Frankie, they look fast, but I feel like they're not really able to catch him. So we'll see what they have, second half of this race. But man, just Devin's looking so strong right now as they come down pit road. Everyone comes down pit road, obviously. 4 tires and fuel. No messing around right now. Later on in this race, Bowie, I mean, if we get like a late caution, are 2 tires even viable?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I just don't. The way how the tires are wearing right now and how aggressively they're wearing, I probably wouldn't do a 2-tire stop unless it's like maybe 10 or 15 laps to go. Because it's just way too aggressive. And yes, I mean, like I said, on 4 fresh tires, racing hard, you could probably get about 20 laps out of it. So, yeah, I mean, if you can get a 15-lap run, 2 tires could be an option. But that's also if these guys even got any more, if they'll even have any more tires, because every time they come down pit road, they're taking 4. I don't see anybody taking 2.
True. Well, hey, we already talked to Devin Smirker in stage 1 as the winner, so let's bring in somebody else. I want to bring in Joseph Mealy, actually, and see if we can find out what he has to do to get this win away from Devin. See if we can steal him real fast. Hey, Joseph, it's Steve and Brandon Bowie in the booth, man. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, looking really good today. Very, very strong. Top 3 car, it would appear like, trying to track down your good buddy Nick Lights and then Devin Smirker right now. So what's it going to take to get this win away from them? You're looking very strong and quick, but are you holding back a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of figuring out where we're at, where the track's going, where the grip and everything's going. And just kind of running my own race. This racetrack will grab you and bite you in a second. So just going to run here. We know how these races can end. I'm not counting myself out of it for a second. I'll be there when it counts.
Awesome, man. Hey, going to be fun to watch, so good luck rest of the way.
Absolutely. Let's go. Dover, best racetrack, man.
Yes, sir. All right. Putting Joseph back to his teammates. Yeah, looking very good as well. So Joseph looking pretty strong right now. All these drivers are choosing here as we get to do. Tell you what a cool thing we get to do here in this ASRA Cup Series, the Choose car. Very cool thing that we implemented last season, and
yeah.
you know, hey, we're still waiting for iRacing to kind of get their stuff together as far as, you know, putting some more implementation on. But hey, this is a pretty cool way to obviously use that choose rule as you see in the real world. So Brandon Davis, our race control in the car as always. So big shout out to him. And big shout out also to harpoondesign.com for designing that paint scheme. Looks very good. And actually a good chunk of the paint schemes on the track today. So go check him out, fill out a form, and he'll get back to you. Some of the best paint schemes, if not the best paint schemes on the service. So go check him out right now, though. We're going to check out Devin Smirker leading off this field in stage number 3. Coming out of turn 2, pace car will come in this time by, and we have about half the race to go. 95 laps once we go back green. So the way this race is going, I mean, Brandon, I see, you know, a couple of green flag pit stops in our future. I've got a feeling. And it's been just an overall clean race, minus a couple hiccups in stage 2.
Yeah, I think this is the time that we're gonna start seeing it. I can't wait to see these green flag pit stops.
Yes, sir. Tough track to get onto as far as pit road and green flag, but right now, Geico restart zone. We're back green for the Discoin 200. Devin Smirker back up front. Three wide almost, back in turn 4. Villalobos, Josh Larson. Very close together. Donnie Honeycutt squeezing up. These restarts, Bowie, these are pretty intense right here, but once they kind of figure it out and go single file, definitely eases up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing that I want to say right now, as I was thinking about it, you know, on that absolute restart, was number one, I was hoping that the 51 to 78 didn't get into each other again because they've had their run-ins.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh no, let's not do that again. But if this stays green, this would be the longest run that they've had all race.
Yeah.
So this is going to be really, really interesting because, yes, they did, the first stage was 50 laps. They did go. But now the question is, okay, now do I push it a little bit further past the 50 laps and try and see if I can stretch my fuel a little bit and maybe wait a little bit longer before I have to pit so I have fresher tires over the competition? Or do I pit a little bit earlier and try to get fresh tires before everybody else, try to make up the time and try to see if I can hold off for a possible win? So the strategies are you know, enormous right now as far as what they could possibly do if we don't see a caution. Again, if we don't see one. If we do see a caution, then you could probably throw about 4 or 5 different other strategies in there. But for right now, if it stays green, the two strategies is either pit long or pit short.
That's right.
I just don't know who's going to win that strategy.
And that's the thing, right? I mean, because you're hardwired at this point, racing to 50 laps, but right now you've got 95, you know, of a potential green flag run. So basically double that. And back to your point about fuel too, I mean, it sounds like these guys are pretty close on fuel with about 45 to 50 laps on a run. So, I mean, maybe, you know, obviously it seems like a one stopper, but is it maybe a two stopper if there's no cautions? It's going to be tough to get to see if, you know, these guys need that splash or if that one stop can do. But I mean, do you save it now? You know, if you want to go that one stopper route, do you save now and then get it at the end of this, you know, the run? Tough call.
If you want to go past 50, you're definitely going to have to be saving on the short side of the run. So basically right now. And then, you know, again, try to stretch it as far as you can go. In my opinion, if you can kind of keep the same pace as what the leaders are doing, maybe a tenth or two off, give or take. If you can stay within that same realm, and you actually are saving fuel at the same time, you could have definitely the upper hand.
That's right.
We saw, we saw earlier, there's a couple guys who could not go 50. And if you can't go 50, you're going to have to pit again. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're just going to have to. But if you can find some way to stretch it past the 50, maybe even get maybe 51 or 52 laps out of it, that's 2 laps faster tires than you probably have than compared to the rest of the field. So, again, another way to get advantage, another way to kind of play the strategy in your hands instead of letting the strategy come to you.
That's right. A great point right there, man. These guys right here are fighting pretty hard. Roger Pierce right now in P12, not a bad spot for him, but he's got a pretty good lead in the playoffs. But man, he needs some points today. Has not had any stage points, so has to get that good position right here. Matthew Fleming, man, dives down low. We saw him get some of the worst of it when it came to that caution in stage 2 with Jamie Graham, Brandon Six, that whole contact right there. But he's back, has some front end damage there, obviously, but he's fighting right now for 12th place, so he's getting those points that he needs, making a good comeback.
Yeah, again, thinking of the big picture. Hey, you know what? Yes, I got wrecked. I got damaged. I'll get as much as I can fix. But, you got to continue to move forward. Every point, every position matters, right? So if you can't, at least try and gain every point you can, then why are you here?
That's right.
I'll be honest with you, why are you here? Your job is to go out there and try to get the best finish you can. Whether it's damaged or not, you got to go for it.
It's a great point. And right now we're seeing Joseph Mealy actually taking the lead away a couple laps ago from Devin Smirker. So he finds himself in P1 right now. We talked to him earlier. Oh, hold on. You hear that, Bowie? Cutting off the engine. Let's ride on board real quick to Mealy, see if he doesn't turn 3. Or maybe clutching it would sound like, but yeah, so fuel saving already. Devin Smirker, let's see, right on board him and see if he's doing the same thing. Not quite. So differing strategies already on the fuel conservation.
So, here's another little nugget I'll throw out there. If you don't do it correctly and you are shutting off the car, which it does kind of look like he is, as far as Millie wise, if he is shutting off the car, he has to be careful not to heat up the right front, because you're not putting any power to the rear. So you gotta be careful with that. If you are Smecker, you have to be careful, because turning off the car might not give you the maximum amount of fuel saving. So
Gotcha.
Again, 2 completely different fuel strategists, I'll say that. Doing 2 completely different things. Question is gonna be, who does it better? And like I said, cutting it off the car, you're gonna have to change the whole way you drive, because you don't have the rear tires pushing you forward. You're mainly just coasting. And by cutting it off and cutting back on, it can actually unbalance the car when you cut it back on. So I will say, I know some people are like, oh yeah, cutting off the car is easy. No, it's not. It's it's an art, and it takes quite a while to get it so that way you can do it perfectly. Brad Kozlowski is another person that's done it masterfully over the years, and I think some of the drivers, the real drivers, are now just starting to understand how to do it. I will say, Lampier is falling pretty quickly. I'm not sure what's going on, but he is slipping and sliding all over the place.
Yeah, we just saw him a second ago getting passed by, like Roger Pierce, Fleming, but to your point, yeah, he's just way off the pace right now. Kind of got him back, actually. He looks decent now, but man, yeah, a second ago he was hurting.
Yeah, looks like it's kind of calmed down a little bit. Trying to stop the bleeding. And look, he could be on strategy. He could be saying, you know what, I need to save some fuel, so I'm gonna have to let some of these guys go. Which is, it's a possibility. But him, oh my goodness, yeah, way loose. But it could also just be the line that he's running. He looks like he's running the middle lane, and that is not the middle of the high line, and that's not working because it looks like he's just really loose coming off the line.
Well, right now, Joseph Mealy still out front on lap 127. Devin Smirko, James Kaufman having some issues right here. 19th, way up high. Smacks the wall here. Going to try and come down low, it would appear. Yep, he does. Had a big issue there in turn 1 and 2. Misses pit road.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's time to go, like I said, but you gotta limit the mistakes as well. And unfortunately, that's gonna hurt him for sure.
Yeah, he had a pretty clean race going so far, but then, yeah, right now they're just unfortunate. Hopefully he comes down here and his car's pretty well beat up, it would appear. So you're gonna come down the apron. I would assume he would come down pit road here and fix his damage, but yeah, this pit road's not easy to hit. And there he comes, James Kaufman.
I was trying to go back and look. He might have a broken toe link. He might have that right rear might be actually towed out. So that's could be why he could not get turned down to the pit lane.
Yeah.
If that thing is any way bent, it is treacherous trying to get the road down and trying to get down the pit road. It's pretty scary.
Yes, sir. Right now, these two guys right here, Daryl Young, but more so Josh Larson right now in P8. Having a great run right here in stage 2. He needs these points. So 8th place right now, good points. If he can, finish in this spot, if not higher. So didn't qualify where he wanted, but man, this is what he needs to see to get himself in the next round after a pretty bad Michigan.
One car at a time.
That's right.
Just pick them off one at a time. It's the only thing you can do, especially after you have a bad race. I mean, a lot of times you have a bad race and you just want to just go curl up under a pillow and just.
Oh yeah.
You're so mad. You're so frustrated, and you try to have a great mindset and a good mindset going into the next race, but sometimes it's just really difficult. And for example, sometimes I am just mad for a whole week. Understanding that it is a simulator, it's not real or anything like that, but if your competition is high, your competitiveness in yourself is usually what drives that. And for me, it's the same thing. I'm really competitive, and if I make a stupid mistake or a simple mistake or get caught up in somebody else's stuff, I'm frustrated, I'm mad. But it's all about how you can pick yourself up and go back after it for the next race. And he's showing what he needs. He's showing it. He's doing what he needs to do.
Yes, sir. Right now, Scott Casorn in that Budweiser Select machine. Love that black and gold right there. Looking pretty good right now in P14, moving his way up to the front. He finds himself 4 points back of that contender cutoff line, so he's looking to get himself back up to the front, obviously, and get those 4 points made up. But I've got my eyes right now set on Matt Smith. So Matt Smith right now is currently in 18th place. He's your Season 1 champion here for the ASRA, and man, right now, championship-wise, he finds himself +8 after Michigan. Had a great Michigan, but right now, 21st place. Don't believe he had any stage points, so he needs a big finish right here for this last 65 laps.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he's not really felt comfortable off the truck. Unfortunately, we did not give him a good enough car coming here, so he's just doing everything he can just to try and yet again, I think I said about Larson, just one car at a time, and just see how it shakes out. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, and then at the end of the day, that you gave it your all, and
that's right.
And that's the only thing you can really do at this point. So still a long way to go. Like I said, these guys gotta make it to at least 50 to do a one stop. We're getting close to that to see who's gonna be able to do it, who isn't gonna be able to do it. So for example, if Matt is able to save a little bit of fuel and make it past lap 50, maybe go to 151, 152, hey, he's probably looking better than some of the other guys. So it's just gonna depend on strategies as we see Oh, I'm a little behind. So I think it's Honeycutt coming up pit road.
Yeah, DJ Honeycutt coming down pit road. I was going to ask, what is this strategy? I mean, is he just committing to a two pit stop strategy at this point to keep those tires as fresh as they can the whole time? I mean, what is this? Because this seems pretty early to me.
Yeah. So I think that let's see if you do. So yeah, I mean, technically you could do that. I'm not really a fan of the two tire stuff or not two tires, but the stopping twice. And the reason I'm not is because of caution. Caution can come out at any time. If a caution comes out, I mean, you're automatically, by pitting here and taking 4 tires of fuel, you're automatically going down 2 laps. That's a given, right? So if a caution comes out, getting 1 lap back, okay, you could probably take the wave around or be the caution, or not caution car, but the wave around car. 2 laps down, that gets even more difficult, because then you gotta hope that nobody else goes a lap down. So then you're fighting that.
We are trending green though, so that's kind of that risk maybe he wanted to take, is say, you know what, this might just all or nothing, right? He wants to either get into those playoffs and maybe try and steal a win, or hey, maybe just try and I don't know, just an alternate strategy. But either way, we'll see how that works for him. We'll watch that closely for sure. DJ Honeycutt. While we're talking about him, Devin Smirker got back to the front and right now has a 0.3 of a second lead on Nick Lights. Nick Lights looked like he actually held on a little bit better to those tires, so I think he's realizing, you know what, I gotta be better about that to try and get this win away from Smirker. But these guys both looking pretty good. Green flag pit stops definitely pretty close here. So real quick, let's go and do our race day nonstop. Go and thank our sponsors. You won't miss a thing though. We'll stay live. We'll come right back. All right, folks, we are back to the Discoin 200 here at Dover. And right now we're at lap 146, almost about 50 laps to go here in this race. The cutoff race for the ASRA Cup Series playoffs, round of 12. And right now we're expecting green flag pit stop to take place here momentarily. I would assume, Bowie. Is that, am I close to right there?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I'm excited for it. I want to see who can do it and who can't do it. And we're getting close. I would probably say another. We'll be able to see who can make it to the 50. So 150 will be the mark. Whoever, if people are still out there, then I know that they're definitely going to save some fuel.
That's right. Right now, Devin Smirker is still out front. Now it's back by 0.7 of a second. He's actually catching DJ Honeycutt. Excuse me, DJ actually passed him. So DJ getting his lap back the old school way. So looking pretty good there. Right now, only 1 lap down. So if a caution were to come out, he'll regain that back out as the lucky dog. He's in that position right now. So looking pretty solid. Smirker up front still. Mealy and Barroso, man, they just seem like they have 3rd and 4th place cars. Mealy, I think he's holding on to it a bit. Frankie just doesn't seem to have that just that raw speed, maybe.
Yeah, it seems to be just lacking just a little bit, and it's a lot of just, like I said, you really don't know what these guys are really doing at this point, because they know they got to at least make it to 150.
Right.
Anything after that is a bonus. So, could Frankie actually be just saving fuel, are going slow enough that way he can kind of really leapfrog them and then really get, really go and not have to save again on the second run. I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy right now to try and see and try to figure out how much they've saved. I wish I had like a little birdie and I had like in all their pit crews and I could just hear, okay, how much, what's his pit stop, when's his pit stop.
And here's the thing, though. I mean, in a case like this, obviously, anything after 150, maybe even right now, is a pretty good spot to be in. But, do you want to do the undercut? Do you want to try and sneak in if you're in that top 5? Maybe, if you're a Joseph Mealy or Kenny Reel, right? Do you want to try and get the undercut, but also maintain and have a good spot fuel-wise, try and gain some time on track?
If I'm in the top 5, yes. Well, no, let me clarify. If I'm in the top 4, yes. I think, unfortunately, Kenny is a little bit too far out. He's about 7 seconds back, 7.5. I think it's a little bit too far out to really do that. I think, can he maybe pick up a spot or two? Maybe, but to the win, no. If we're talking about for the win, I would say the top 2nd, 3rd, and 4th would have to undercut Smecker and then basically push hard for like a lap or two and then just kind of just ride.
Well, we're going to see that. I think we're going to see that, Bowie, because right now Nick Lights, Joseph Mealy, Daryl Young, Josh Larson, these guys are all coming down pit road here on lap 154. So green flag pit stops are well underway. Devin Smirker comes down pit road right now as well. So this is going to be interesting. Devin.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I like the strategy. I like the strategy so far. Now, goes back to what you were saying. You asked about 2 tires or 4 tires. It has to be 4. Has to be 4 for everybody. I don't see anybody taking 2 tires right now.
That's right. Frankie Barroso did lead that 1 lap, so he is credited for that 1 point right there. But right now it comes down pit road. Kenny Reel, Scott Casorn comes down. Smirker, he gets off right there in that number 1 pit stall, so he's looking pretty good. 4 tires and fuel. Donnie Honeycutt going to lead his first lap of the race. Looks very strong right now for him in that 22 machine. But as the field gets back to normal positioning, man, we'll see how this worked out for them. The one great thing about internet racing, Bowie, is that, hey, sometimes you don't always see those green flag pit stops. And right now we're seeing them. And on lap 155, this can come down to a lot. I mean, this pit road is not easy to come down to under green. You got to be careful. You have to hold on to the tires and just, speed, don't wreck. Whereas we're hearing, man, Jackson Anderson high into the wall right there.
Yeah, it's really, really easy to speed here. Absolutely easy. But it's just a matter of, taking it easy. And again, goes back to what I was saying before. You just got to think of the big picture, and the big picture is don't speed on pit road. Come down, come with your 4 sets, your set of tires, your fuel, go back out there, and just try to capitalize as much as you can.
That's right, but man, look at this. DJ Honeycutt right now in P1, so gonna get that extra point. Did he big brain all of us, Bowie? Because right now he was 2 laps down. We saw him pit about 15, 20 laps ago, and man, we were like, what is he doing here? And right now looking very good in that P1 spot, 6 seconds ahead of Devin.
Well, absolutely. I mean, him coming in a couple laps sooner, was going to be the key moment for him. He gets to get out there and lead some laps and get a bonus point as well. Now, the key thing is that he does have to pit again.
Yeah.
So I think at this point he's banking on either a caution coming out. And if a caution comes out right now, this could hurt him for sure.
Oh yeah.
But if it were to, maybe come out right before he needs to pit again,
yes,
then we might have a great strategy out there.
That's right. Hey, one more contender. Looks like out of the race or out of the situation. Nick Light still on pit road. We saw him, man, contending for the lead. Led some laps in P2 and 3. Right now, still on pit road. I would assume serving some kind of pit road speeding penalty. Still on pit road, potentially for that 40-second hold. So, bad news for him, man. That's a huge contender out of the way here for this win. But, man, DJ Honeycutt holding on to that lead. Devin is cutting into it, though. Man, Nick Simpson gets in the way. Devin gets around him, though.
That 40-second penalty is an absolute nightmare. I've gotten that so many times, and it feels like you're sitting there for absolutely ever. I mean, that's easily a 2-lap penalty. Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Especially on a short track like this. So it's... that's got to be frustrating as well. Another frustrating moment. You know, and it's just a minor mistake. You know, speed a little bit on pit road, and now you gotta hope that you get calamity.
Yeah.
And somehow, some way make up some spots, but it still shows he's on pit road, so that might be a bigger penalty than what we're thinking.
Really, really tough break for him. But, man, we're looking at two drivers right here, Roger Pierce and Josh Larson, who earlier in this race, I don't know if I would have told you they would have had top 10 cars, but right now they're looking pretty good. P7 and 8. These guys need the points to get into that next round. Roger Pierce, not so much, but Josh Larson definitely. So him in that 8th place right now looking very strong. If they can hold on to this, it's a great finish for them. But, man, I mean, you know, Bowie, I mean, green flag pit stops at a track like this, it can be tough sometimes, too, because sometimes yellow flags happen during green flag pit stops, getting on and off pit road, slower cars around faster cars, things like that, right? But right now we didn't see that, and the field is even more spread out than it was before, so this really has the potential to go all the way.
Yeah, it does. It does. I got my fingers crossed. I'm just, be honest, I hate cautions. I really don't like cautions, but in this situation, I would be absolutely ecstatic if I saw a caution and it bunched the whole field back up and we had like a 20-lap dash. I just want to see everybody, just the calamity and people, you know, just showing what they can do. Like, I want to be able to see that. So
we want to see that. I don't think they do. If you're
yeah, absolutely. We want to see that. The fans want to see that. But you know, the drivers don't. They don't want to see that. So
yeah, if you're Devin Smirker trying to go for your first win, you definitely want this thing to go green all the way. But time will tell. Yep. 33 laps to go here at the line. Man, Matthew Fleming, going back to him real quick, as his teammate in front of him, Josh Larson, looks pretty quick, actually. Fleming right here. At the end of, actually, the beginning of stage 2, when he had that big issue getting into 6 and Jamie Graham, man, that front end was pretty well beat up. And I didn't really think he had a contending car at that point, but right now finds himself in that top 10, P9. Looks a bit quicker than his teammate in front of him, so we'll see how that goes. But definitely a good rebound effort for him. Back up front, though, we just saw Devin Smirker take the lead back from DJ Honeycutt, and quite commandingly as well. So back to the front here for Smirker. Could this be the day for that 26 machine in Murphy Esports? Would be a huge day for Cardano, Hosky, Discoin, the sponsor of today's race. We'll see.
They always say the best wins is when the race car with the sponsor and the sponsor of the race wins the race.
That's right. I'll tell you what, that team has definitely contributed a lot to this league, as well as, you know, just the community of drivers we have too. So great bunch of guys. I mean, I'll tell you what, if they do end up winning this race, that'll be a big win, not only for themselves, but for the league itself as well. So looking forward to seeing how this last 30 laps end up. Devin Smirker coming around here. But man, Joseph Mealy 2 seconds back. He came in 1 lap before Devin, but still finds himself, you know, holding on to that position. Either way, I mean, second place for Mealy, if that were the case for him, would be absolutely huge for him. So we'll see how that ends up. Kenny Reel, though, man, can't say enough about him in P5. Just looking extremely strong in the number 11 Jordan machine.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta give a shout out to looks like Pierce. I thought he was a little bit further back, but he looked like he's gonna shake out, and like right now he's holding on to P7. So, you know, hasn't had the best of races lately.
Right.
You know, again, doing what he needs to do to kind of get the points and kind of move on to the next round.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about having, like just playoff points early in the season, right? I mean, he didn't get a win necessarily just yet, but he racked off some stage wins and whatnot. So we had a few bonus points, to the plus, and that matters because, I mean, your first round, in like this really for him, hasn't really gone as planned and hasn't really been, super clean. But those playoff points can really just move you into the next round because you had a good regular season.
Yeah, and it's still a long season. From the time that you start to the time that the regular season ends, to the time you get in the playoffs, it's frustrating if you don't get a win. But at the same time, there's a lot of fast guys in this league, and trying to understand, like, hey, you know what, I might not get a win, but I can go out there and possibly win a stage, or I can get some stage points, and those stage points can carry you, through it. So, I wouldn't, I wouldn't say that he's had a bad season at all. It's just a matter of just learning what you can and continue to push yourself. And hey, look, you never know. Look, Devin Specker is out here leading right now. Has not won a race in this series, and it looks like if we stay green, I have a good feeling this is his win tonight.
Yeah, we said it earlier. I mean, at the beginning of stage one, actually the end, excuse me, when we were talking to Devin. I mean, I said it. I'm like, it just feels like a magical night. I mean, not only maybe for him, but just like this series in general, right? This race has just felt very clean, very respectable. A couple of hiccups, like we said earlier, beginning of stage two, but overall, these guys are racing as if it's this is a cutoff race, Bowie, and these guys are racing pretty well clean, and it's just good to see.
Yeah, now this was Bristol, I think we all know. Whole other atmosphere. But
yes,
being Dover, I think, like I said, I think there's a lot of guys that kind of understand where they're at, whether it be in standings wise or playoffs wise, or just understand the big picture. And Dover is crazy. Like I said, in real life, we've seen some of the biggest hits and the biggest wrecks on a short track. Some people don't consider it a short track. I do. But it's just, you're doing the best that you can. Dover is a very difficult track. Whether it's the setup, whether it's the car, whether it's the track, the whole, or whether it's all three of a combination. It's just a matter of, again, picking them off one at a time, taking your time, making sure you have tires, and then learning. Every time you make a pass on somebody, you're learning, okay, how did I make that pass? Can I do that again on the next person I'm trying to catch? And that's for people for everybody that is behind Smecker. If you're Smecker, your goal is to go ahead and continue the pace that you are putting down right now. Now, is he technically being caught right now by Millie? Technically, yes.
A little bit.
Over the last couple of laps, he's kind of kept nipping at the time a little bit. But Smecker is in such a comfortable space right now that Millie is the one who has to do the chase.
Right.
So it just depends on where you are right now in this race. If you're Smecker, you're relaxing, you're chilling, you're hitting your marks, you're not overdriving the car or anything like that. Millie is having to do all the work to try and catch me. He has to overwork the car. He has to overwork the tires.
That's right.
So it's interesting to see how the two are playing out. The little bit of give and take there. Looks like Millie lost quite a bit there, actually. Maybe about 2/10.
Yeah. Trying
to catch him. But he's also in traffic. So again, it's a great battle between the two. No, they're not like, really, really close to each other, but you're still watching the time to see, okay, who's faster that lap, who's faster this lap.
Yeah, right now a lot going on. Tyler Honeycutt, unfortunately, one lap down. A couple of updates real quick in the back of the field. Tyler Honeycutt, one lap down, but in 15th place. Matthew Smith as well. Bunch of drivers actually on the lead lap, the top 8 on the lead lap. Everyone else at least one lap down. So green flag racing, this will do it to you. Right now, though, Tyler Honeycutt, DJ Honeycutt, 2 laps down for DJ. We saw him come down pit road a second ago. But yeah, right now just either needs a caution, he needs something to happen to get himself back into the front. But I mean, if you're DJ, you probably stay out if the yellow flag comes out, I would assume. But man, either way, try the alternate strategy, and so far it might work out for him. We'll see. 15 laps to go, though. Devin Smirker up front with a commanding 2.5 second lead. Looking very good today for the Discoin 200 here at Dover.
Man, this race has been absolutely one of the cleanest Dover races I think I've ever seen. To be completely honest with you guys, I don't think I've seen a race where there's so much give and take. There's so much respect. That goes a long way. For you as being a league owner, for the drivers that are in the league, they feel like they can actually race each other competitively and race each other, really, really, difficultly and try to make passes and know, oh, hey, that driver's not going to, turn me or anything like that, or he's not going to put me in the wall or anything like that. We might door bang a little bit, but he understands it's part of racing. So, this is, like I said, this is probably definitely one of the cleanest Dover races I've ever been a part of, and I'm happy that I'm a part of it.
Yeah, that's one of those things we preach, right? It's like, hey, if you're a 15th place car, then race as a 15th place car, right? Don't try and like over push and try and get a top 5 or whatever. If you're a 15th place car speed wise and handling, hey, a top 10 is a win for you, right? So like that's what we have to kind of keep in mind for these guys. Obviously, it's playoff time. This is a cutoff race. But you don't want to sacrifice, more points. And keep in mind, too, causing a caution, wipes 5 points away from your day, So it's just part of part of the plan. So, racing clean has its benefits.
Yeah, it's definitely showing. It's definitely showing for sure. These guys are putting on a heck of a race. Nothing really going on up front, as Smecker has now about a 2.9 second lead over Millie. But some of these other little packs, I mean, they are putting on a heck of a show for us.
Yeah, Michael Lanfear comes down pit road right here as well, so this might be unscheduled. Not sure what the deal is with this one. I feel like he came down with Lights and Mealy and that whole group right before Smirker came down, so we'll see what this is about. But yeah, Smirker real quick, 9 laps to go here for this Discoin 200. Just to puff him up a bit, man, he came into the season all ready to roll. He wanted to make this home, and just again, Brian Murphy as well, just a great team owner, and comes in, Murphy Esports, and brought in a lot of cool sponsors, a lot of cool support, and they've been knocking on the door, man, a couple times. Pocono comes to mind, where him and Brandon Six had some situations on the last lap. But man, he's been looking really strong. He's been knocking on the door again, like I said. And today, 8 laps to go. Hey, we're not going to jinx it yet, man, but he is looking pretty damn good today in these playoffs.
I do not want to be that person if you jinx him from getting his first win. So I'm going to leave that to you. I don't want to be a part of that. But yes, I agree 110%. They have came on the scene with speed from the first race to where we are now, and I expect them to continue to have pace, all through the rest of the playoffs, all through the championship. They're going to be one of the drivers that you're going to have to beat. Right now, I mean, I know that the playoff 4 is not set up yet. But I'm honestly, right now, I'm just gonna say it's between Smecker and Brandon Six. I mean, these guys they're around each other all the time. And when you have that, and you have that kind of parity, when you have two drivers of their caliber, with their speed, and their understanding of what the car is doing, their knowledge, things are gonna happen. I think last week in Michigan was another example of mistakes happening, but again, they're very similar as far as speed wise.
Yeah.
And when you have that, I mean, Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson, that's kind of where I'm not saying that they're on that caliber at all. Please don't come for me, please. But I'm just saying, as far as like pretty close to just how they race. And when you have that, and you have two drivers that are competitive and fast, mistakes are gonna happen. We've seen it, and it's just a matter of how can they capitalize it for the next race. And Smirker is definitely showing it.
Yes, sir. And right now, we're going to battle for P2. Joseph Mealy fall back quite a bit. Frankie Barroso's right there. He can pounce and get that P2 if he can somehow figure that out. He is right there, though. Top 3 car all day, but might be able to steal away a P2. Goes down low in turn 3 and 4. Might be able to sneak it away from Joseph Mealy, but we are 2 laps to go here for the Discoin 200. And Devin Smirker, it is all about him today. Won the pole, won stage 1 in stage 2. And Devin Smirker rounds turn 4. He is 1 lap away. White flag lap is out here, sponsored by Sim Motion. Devin Smirker has come a long way this season. He has not quite had that win, but man, he has been so close. And Devin is about to get his first win of the season for the ASRA Cup Series. Devin Smirker wins at Dover Motor Speedway for the Discoin 200. Huge win for Devin Smirker. His first win of the season. Frankie Barroso makes that pass barely at the line here for P2 and steals it away from Joseph Mealy. Mealy will finish off in 3rd place, followed by Kenny Reel, a very impressive P4 for him. Daryl Young, 5th place. Man, long race for him, but manages a top 5. Great job. Matthew Fleming, his car was wrecked in stage 2, but walks it away with the 6th. Roger Pierce, the same thing. Great comeback. Scott Gersorn, Richard Woodruff, and then Julio Villalobos will round out your top 10. But Devin finally breaks through and gets it done. He's going to burn him down here at Dover.
I'm just going to say, this young man put on a clinic. Put on an absolute clinic. I would need to look up and see how many laps he led, but untouchable here at Dover. This is like I said, at this point, as far as the competition, this is when they need to really start to be nervous.
Yeah, this is definitely scary, I think, for the competition, to your point. I mean, breakthrough win, first one of the season, and at Dover at the cutoff race. We have 3 races left to go in the playoffs. It is a perfect time to get hot right now.
It's the absolute perfect time to get hot. Look, he's driving a Ford. The only difference is it does not have the number 12 on the side. This is what, it's just a feeling. I'm feeling a Brian Blaney sense of he's gonna bring the heat for sure to the competition. So I'm excited to see how this unfolds for the Final 4.
Awesome job for Devin right here. Big win for Cardano, for Hosky, for Discoin, everybody over there, and Murphy Esports. So we'll bring him in just a second. We're going to go and thank our sponsors real fast, and then we'll come back and talk to our top 3 as usual. Come right back, folks. All right, folks, we are back. Big thanks to our sponsors to make this all possible. But Devin Smirker is your big winner today for the Discoin 200. He breaks through for his first win of the season. And right now, I'll tell you what, there's no scarier man than that one right there to finish off these playoffs. He's looking very good, very hot already. Right now, we're going to bring in our top 3. We'll bring in Devin Smirker first. We'll go a little different today. We'll just go 1, 2, 3. Let's bring him in. Here he is. Devin Smirker wins his first race of the season in dominating fashion. Gets all that, the pole, the stages, the win. Pulls the perfect game. So, man, hey, awesome big win for you at Dover. How you feeling, dude?
Yeah, I guess you called it a little bit of that magic after stage one, huh? Man, just perfectly executed race by the entire Murphy Esports crew. Jamie got involved in something a little earlier in the race, and he stuck it out with me, and he was that calm voice in my ear those last 100 laps. So, yeah, man, we wore him out tonight, and we've been waiting all year to pull this off, and we've done it, but job's not finished.
Awesome job, man. Hey, again, big win for you. Give us a second real quick. Shout out your sponsors and who you have. Obviously, Discoin 200 on the race today, so a big win for you and your sponsors, I'm sure. So shout them out for us.
Wow, man, I have so many people to thank for getting where I am. First, I got to thank Brian Murphy. I met him during the COVID pandemic when the entire world shut down and NASCAR shut down. And he's been a tremendous friend to me, one of my best friends in the world since then. And we took on this whole iRacing thing together. I've been doing it since I was 14 years old, but Brian wanted to take this to the next level. Brian wants to represent sim racers, and he wants to put real money in sim racers' pockets. We want to represent real brands, and man, have we not been able to do that. So I gotta thank Hosky, Cardano, Babyface Fabrication. So many others, man. Discoin for hopping on, entitlement sponsor for the race, hopping on the race car. So they're 1 for 1. I hope they love that. I got to thank the All Things Go podcast with Derek. They've been part of the primary sponsorship all year. So and yeah, thank you to Discoin and Disco Solaris for hopping on tonight. Man, it's just it's an incredible feeling. But we can't celebrate too much. We'll celebrate tonight. But we got a championship we want to win. That's why we're here. That's what we want to do at ASRA. So, Murphy Esports, we're not done yet. This is just the beginning.
Yes, sir. Awesome job today. Las Vegas next week for the round of 8. We'll see you then, man. Great job again tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Alrighty, there he is. Devin Smirker with that first win of the season. Great job right there. We'll bring in, we'll go P2. Why not? Let's just go back 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in reverse fashion, but we'll do the something different this time around. So Frankie Barroso finishes in P2. Snuck it away at the last second here. And, man, did a great job. Frankie, man, how'd your race go? Went pretty good. Different, strategies involved. Green flag racing, man. How'd it go for you on your end?
It was a little topsy-turvy. I thought I absolutely screwed the pooch in qualifying, but thankfully I was able to start third. But, I was just stuck in dirty air basically the whole race. And, with these cars, once you get stuck in dirty air, it's like, well, there's not, especially here when everyone's like super close, top 4, top 5 was all extremely competitive. Like, it was basically whoever was out front. And Devin just did a great job of staying up front throughout basically the whole race. And, just everybody that was behind him just killed their tires and couldn't do anything.
Awesome job, man. Yeah, just walk us through those last couple of laps. Taking P2, we're watching it back live. You and Mealy were kind of battling right here in the last lap, man. How'd you do it?
I finally had clean air for once. And, I thought the 3 kind of screwed me a little bit on the pit stop because I couldn't really pass him, and he kind of held me up a bit, but I thought that was gonna kill my chances of a podium. But thankfully, not. I think Nick might have sped on pit road, and Mealy just kind of had the same issue that I was having all race, and I guess I was running basically the same pace I was the entire race, before that last run. I was doing the same thing, and I was catching Mealy a 10th a lap basically the last 15-20 laps, and I was quick as Devin. So it is what it is, man. Just didn't go our way tonight, and we'll try to have it go our way next week.
Yes, sir. Las Vegas next week, and obviously you're firmly planted into that next round. So great job, man. Give us your shout outs for your sponsors, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Brandon Bowie of Bowie Esports for having me on the team. I'd like to thank also all my teammates, Brandon Six, Kenny Reel, Matt Smith, and Richard Woodruff. They all did a great job tonight. Struggled hard and fought hard. Thank you to you guys, obviously, for putting on the show. Thank you to everyone at home. And I also got to thank Joseph, who he'll probably bring up in a minute, for racing extremely respectful those last 3 laps. That was a lot of fun, slipping and sliding. And we'll just go next week, see if we can do any better.
Awesome job, man. Hey, congrats again on the P2. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. See y'all next week.
Alrighty, this is Frankie Barroso, and P2 will bring in next Joseph Mealy, who was your P3 winner. Or 3 winner? I don't know. P3. Let's bring him in. Joseph Mealy, man. Hey, great job again today. We talked to you earlier at the end of stage 2. And, man, right now looked pretty good. Had a great car. Got passed at the last second there by Frankie. But overall, fantastic racing by you all day today, man. Talk to us about your race.
Yeah, it was a really good one. Put a lot of effort into it. I've got far too many laps around this racetrack. So anything less than what happened tonight was going to be a disappointment. And even third's disappointing. Anything less than winning here is disappointing, but can't be upset, especially coming into it below or just above the cut line. I didn't want to have any mistakes like last week. So all in all, it was a really good night.
Yes, sir, man. Awesome job. Again, Dover's just proved, to your point, again, to be an awesome track. So great job again for you. But next week, Las Vegas, another 1.5 miles. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, man, talk to us about your sponsors and your shout outs, and congrats again.
Yeah, absolutely. I missed those in the last interview. We got to thank Lem Dogs Auto Repair, MB Roofing out of San Antonio, Murphy's Mechanical, Wheels America, and Harpoon Design. They do an amazing job. I just got a few paints from them, and absolutely outstanding. So thank you to everybody who makes this happen, teammates, Flagship Motorsports, and of course you guys and family at home. So thank you, everybody. And for everybody who's watching on the stream, appreciate you guys.
Yes, sir. Joseph Mealy in P3. Awesome job again for him. Perfect. Well, hey, great job, man. Bowie, talk to us about the race. I mean, it was really good. There's no other way to really say it. Just overall, minimal costs. I think we had 2 the entire time, besides obviously the stages. But just a great time in this race.
Yeah, it was absolutely a great race. I do want to mention that I know he'll get a chuckle at this. Nick Lights has actually posted in the chat that basically he Kyle Larson the barrels. Very similar to, I'm assuming, what happened to Larson at Homestead. So that was probably that, in a combination of speeding probably didn't help.
Oof.
That combination probably just, yeah, that's probably bad. But yeah, I mean, I thought the race was good. Like I said before, I thought it was very, very respectful. These guys out here, they've raced all season, so for the most part, they kind of understand what each driver's tendency is and how they race and how they want to be raced. So it was cool to see Smecker get his first win in domination fashion. That was cool to see that, for him to get his win. And a shout out to everybody that showed up, and definitely shout out to some of the guys that technically don't usually have really good finishes, and fought it hard to have a great finish. So shout out to all you guys. I understand everybody didn't have a good finish, but it's what can you learn from that race, and how can you apply it to the next race, and go out there and try to also be a Devin Smecker for the next race.
Yes, sir. It's an awesome time here at Dover. Just a great overall race today, especially for a cutoff race. So the round of 12 is over. We will let you guys know who is out of the championship and who is in the championship next week. Follow us on our socials, ASRA iRacing, and we'll post all the updates and whatnot here shortly as far as who's in, who's out. But the next week, Las Vegas, awesome track, a great scenic place. So we'll be there next week, next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. big thanks to everybody who's watching, and thanks for all the subscriptions and the likes in the video. They actually help quite a bit. We're getting closer and closer to 500 subs. So if you haven't already hit the button, go ahead and hit that. We're getting pretty close to our goal here by the end of the year. So big thanks to you guys. Join us also on this Thursday, for the SRU Xfinity Series on Race Day Live. We'll be broadcasting that live from Iowa. It's their second to last race of the season, so that'll be a lot of fun to watch them. So 8 o'clock Eastern time for that. But for me, this is Steve and Brandon Bowie, my good friend here. This is Dover. This is the ASRA Cup Series, and this is the Race Day Live. So, hey, we'll see you guys next time. Big thanks to you. A great race tonight, and have a good night.